Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Prakash Bhati, assistant professor working with IIMT College of Engineering, Greater Noida, is going to deliver a session on the topic role of knowledge in artificial intelligence. So let's begin the session. So at the beginning of the session, I'm here mentioning this shloka taken from the book Atmabodha or Self-Knowledge that is written by Shri Adi Shankaracharya, a great saint and philosopher of the Indian history. The shloka reads, Avirodhitya karmana vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihantyev tejas timir sanghavat. It means that it is the action cannot destroy the ignorance, as it is not in the conflict to the ignorance, but it is only the knowledge that destroys the ignorance, like light destroys the deep darkness. Let's come to the next slide. So this is the outline of this presentation. We will discuss these following topics: introduction to the artificial intelligence, or in short, we can say AI. What is intelligence exactly? Knowledge as the source of intelligence, significance of knowledge in development of AI, and the various types of knowledge. So here are some definitions, formal definitions given by the researchers or philosophers in the field of AI, like Bellman in 1978 state that it is the automation of activities that we associate with human thinking, activity like decision making, problem solving, learning from the experience, etc. Barr and Feynman in 1981 stated that AI is concerned with designing intelligent computer systems which exhibit the characteristics we associated with the intelligence in human behavior. Or, as per Holland stated in 1985, AI is the exciting new effort to make computers think and machines with minds in full and the literal sense. Here are some other definitions also, like Charnock and McDermott in 1985 state that it is a study of mental faculties, thoughts through the use of computational models, or AI is a study of how to make computers do things which at the moment people are better given by Rich and Knight in 1981. So from these definitions, we came to a conclusion that if we formally define artificial intelligence, we can say that it is a branch of computer science that is dealing with making machines or say computers smart and intelligent just as human beings so that they can mimic the human intelligence in their functionalities. So we just know what is artificial intelligence, that is man-made intelligence that can be the intelligence that can be induced in machines so that they can act intelligently like human beings. So before going to discuss the artificial intelligence, we must know the what exactly is intelligence means. So the question is, what is intelligence exactly? Just think of a smart person you know. So why did you choose that person? Why the name of that person came into your mind when you are answering this question? Or think of some other intelligent people. What makes them different from others so that uh, you are saying that they are intelligent. So intelligence is very hard to define concretely. Uh, it, but we can say that intelligence is a parameter that is very abstract in nature and is very tough to define in a concrete way or in a concrete definition. But we can observe an act or behavior and term that as intelligent work. So what are the features or characteristics that helps to uh, figure out whether someone or some act is intelligent or not? So let's come to the next slide. So we have to figure out what intelligence exactly. Suppose we take two persons and ask the following questions to them. The first question is, what will happen if a cat sees a mouse? Most probably, both the people answer that if a cat see a mouse, it will try to chase the mouse and eat it. Next question is, where the upcoming G20 summit in year 2003 is going to be held and under which country's presidency? Maybe the first person knows the answer and give the answer correctly. But the second person doesn't know the answer, but he tries to figure out or find out the correct answer to this question by doing Google on his smartphone and came to know that the answer is India, where the G20 summit is going to be held. So this act of figuring out answer when he or she doesn't know the answer, but putting efforts to find out the right answer is termed as intelligence. The next question is, how can you calculate the simple interest for a certain principal amount over a certain period of time at a given rate of interest? So maybe you can solve this problem if you have if you know the formula to calculate the simple interest and you have the given data. You can calculate with the help of formula and answer this question. Now come to the last question. If both the persons were asked what were the educational degrees Lord Sri Rama possessed, so what do you think the answers may be from both the persons? Let's suppose the first person says, because the first person doesn't know the answer, but he tried to find out the answer by searching this question on Google. So can you term this action as intelligent or not? In my opinion, this action cannot be termed as intelligent because at the answer cannot be there, the cannot be present on the internet. Because at the time of Lord Sri Rama, there was no such type of academic infrastructure and academic system where the college and the schools were not there and there was no any provision of awarding degrees or certificates in education. So putting your efforts and using the available resources to figure out the answer in a wrong direction is wasting your efforts and the resources, and you can never reach your goal. But on the other hand, the second person says that at the time the education system was very different and the education was provided in gurukulas where such type of degrees and certificates were not awarded. They were just taught the literature, the scriptures, literatures, and the act of war, how they can fight war, or how they taught the archeries and other fighting techniques. So after discussing the previous slide, we can conclude to some definition of intelligence in different ways. Like we can say that it is a state of grasping the truth or involving the reasoning concerned with the actions about what is good or bad for the human beings. Or we can define the intelligence as ability to learn and understand from your experience, the ability to acquire and retain knowledge and apply that knowledge in your actions, or to respond quickly, successfully to a new different situation. You can deal with various situations on the basis of the knowledge you acquired from your previous experiences, or use of the faculty of reasoning and solving a real world problem. So it can be defined as the ability to hold two equal and opposite ideas or thoughts in mind and at the same time still remain able to function. So these are some few definitions we concluded, but how can we figure out the intelligence? So let's discuss in the next slide. So there are various characteristics of intelligence. By observing or identifying them, we can figure out the intelligence in an act or in a person. The first one is ability to learn. Intelligence provides you the ability to learn various new things from your surroundings. Another one is to deal with different situations. You can act uh, intelligently in various situations you are facing. Next one is to acquire, understand, and apply knowledge in your actions. Whatever knowledge you are acquiring, you have to understand it and retain it in your mind so that it can be applied in your future actions. Drawing conclusions from the given information or facts. You can drive new facts also. You can generate new facts with the help of the given data. Having vision about the future. To reason, to give logical answers in support of your action to justify that. Handling the various complexities in real world scenario. Another one is problem solving. If you are able to solve a problem, you are termed as intelligent. And the last but not the least is the decision making ability, because intelligence provide you to take decisions in a new scenario. So come to the next slide. These are the characteristics of intelligence. Now here in this slide, you are observing a pyramid is there. At the base is data, above it is information, then knowledge, and at the top is intelligence. This pyramid explains the how significant and how critical is the knowledge for possession of intelligence, because without knowledge you cannot possess intelligence. The data are raw facts. If they are arranged in a meaningful manner, the processed data is termed as information. And when the information is contextual, that can be converted into knowledge. This knowledge is acquired through the experience and retained in our mind so that we can apply it in your future actions or while solving a real world problem. So this pyramid shows the significance of knowledge for obtaining intelligence. Now come to the slide which describes the role of knowledge in artificial intelligence. That is the topic of my session. That how critical, how significant is the knowledge for the development of artificial intelligence. So we can conclude from the previous discussion that it is the base of the basic and most important part for possessing intelligence. Knowledge of real world environment is very critical for intelligence and used for developing artificial intelligence and machines. An agent can act accurately or on input provided to it only if it have knowledge or the experience of such type of information to process. So consider the following scenario. Let's just imagine that if you meet someone who is speaking a different knowledge that you don't understand, how will you react? You will be helpless because you don't understand what the person before you is saying, because you don't understand the language. You don't have the knowledge to understand that language. So you will not act properly. The same thing holds for the agent's intelligent behavior. If a system doesn't have knowledge, it won't be able to act intelligently while performing a task. So, so let's proceed further. Here we will discuss the various types of knowledge we know till today. So there are a few types of knowledges like declarative knowledge, procedural knowledge, inheritable knowledge, inferential knowledge, relational knowledge, heuristic knowledge, common sense knowledge, explicit knowledge, implicit knowledge, that is also known as tacit knowledge, and the last one is uncertain knowledge. Let's discuss these one by one. So the first one is declarative knowledge. As the name is suggesting, it is expressed in the form of declarative sentence, also known as propositions in AI. It is passive knowledge represented in the form of statements or facts about the real world or any phenomena. It tells what about a situation. It focuses what about a situation and doesn't explain anything about the functionality of the concerned object or objects. These facts have a truth value, either they are true or false. For example, if I say the sun rises in the east, this fact is true. Either they have these facts are either true or false. They may be categorized into two categories like static facts or dynamic facts. The example for a static fact is, let's say the location of a college is permanent and the address of the college is permanent, it will become a static fact that will not change. However, the courses can be added or removed from the curriculum pattern of the college. So the curriculum of the college will be a dynamic fact. Next one is the procedural knowledge, which describes the functionality of some process. It is compiled or processed form of information related to the performance of some task. For example, the rule books, strategies, procedures, as agendas, etc. The sequence of steps to solve a problem is known as procedural knowledge. For example, before going to write a C program, you just prepare an algorithm for that. That algorithm is the best example of procedural knowledge. So in some legal systems, this procedural knowledge is considered as the intellectual property of the organization or company, and that can be transferred while transferring the ownership of the company from one person to another. It has the procedural knowledge has very good advantage that it can involve more senses such as hands-on experiences, the practices at solving problems, or understanding of the limitations of a specific solution. So the procedural knowledge describes the standard operation procedures of a task. Next, so as we discussed that it describes the dynamic attributes using production rules. Here is an example. In AI systems, procedural knowledge is stored in the form of production rules, which have if and then format. Following is an example of information regarding operation of a college, how a college operates in a ideal situation. If a student has deposited fees and a student has opted a course and student has attended 75% classes, that means he or she has attained a 75% attendance that is required for pursuing examinations, and student has passed the examination, then we can declare that student is promoted to the next level of academic session or academic curriculum. Next one is inheritable knowledge. This knowledge is represented and stored in hierarchy of classes and should be arranged in a generalized form. In many situations, like general concepts regarding some events or things or activities are already known, and the object of the particular type inherit all the features or attributes of that event. Inheritable knowledge, it shows a relation between the instance and class, and it is called instance relation. And in this approach, objects and values are represented in the boxed nodes. We can see an example in the next slide. Here, knowledge is represented knowledge representation is implemented using a technique known as frames. Each frames indicate a set of traits and their values are stored in it. Each frame has a parent frame or a parent class. For example, here vehicle is a class and its attributes is wheels. Yes, it has wheels. There are two frames that are child frames for this vehicle class, like cycle and automobile. Cycle and automobiles, they are type of vehicles, so they inherit all the properties of a vehicle class, like wheels. They both have wheels. Now come to this automobile. Uh, sports car is a type of automobile. So a sports car inherits all the features and attributes of the automobile automatically. The next techniques to the next technique to represent the inheritable knowledge is semantic net. When these frames are stored semantic information, the structure is known as semantic net. The relation as indicate the salient features or the attributes, and is a relation represents the variable or instance of the particular class. For example, automobile is a vehicle. That means it is a instance of this class. The all the features, it inherits all the features of this class vehicle. Vehicle has part wheels. That means vehicle, automobile is a vehicle. Sports car is a automobile. It inherits all the features of the higher class. Next one is inferential knowledge. It is represented with the help of formal logics like predicate logic. Here, the predicate logic allows to represent the real world facts very accurately. More new facts can be derived using this method. And to process the inferential knowledge, you need an inference mechanism, or in AI, that is termed as inference engine, which can use the inherent inferential knowledge. The inferencing is of two types. I mean, there are two approaches for inferencing mechanism. The one is forward inferencing and the other is backward inferencing. In forward inferencing, we starts with the start goal and move towards the goal state. But in backward inferencing, we traverse back from the goal state to the start state in reverse direction. You can understand the inferential knowledge with the help of the example given here. Let's suppose there are two statements. The first one, Marcus is a man. Here, the sentence has two parts. Marcus, that is the value or variable, and is a man is highlighted here in bold letters. It describes the property of the object or relation among them. So, Marcus is an instance of a concept known as man. Another statement is all men are mortal. These two statements can be represented with the help of predicate logics, like here. The first statement is converted in man in braces Marcus. Here we read this, Marcus is a man. Another statement, all men are mortal. Here, for all values of x, the x is a variable for this property man, or x is an instance of this class man. For all values of x, where x is a man, it implies that x is mortal. Means all men are mortal. By inferencing these two statements, we can conclude that Marcus is immortal. Sorry, Marcus is mortal. Or we can say that Marcus is mortal. That is represented in the predicate logic format. So inferential knowledge is used to figure out conclusions and to generate new facts with the given information. Now come to the next type of knowledge, that is relational knowledge. That is most common form of knowledge, which is whose structure is used in mostly relational databases. Here the facts are represented as set of relations in a tabular format. These tables store the salient features of the objects in columns and their values in rows. So this type of relational knowledge cannot store any semantic information. Here the given table is an example of relational knowledge representation where the columns are representing the salient features or attributes of the objects, and the rows are holding their values. Like player, the player names, player 1, 2, 3, weights, and their ages are given in the tuples. These tuples or records are set of relations and the given information. Next one is a heuristic knowledge. That is very important one among all the knowledges. So this type of knowledge can be defined as experimental and individualistic knowledge. It varies from person to person, and it cannot be acquired from any books or other resources. But the only way to acquire heuristic knowledge is your experience and learning, nothing else. For example, knowledge of good guessing. How can a person in is very good in guessing something? It is used to make judgments and also to simplify the solution of problems. Where the exhaustive search is impractical to find the solution, these heuristic methods are used to speed up the process of finding the optimal solution in that case. For example, answer this question below. How many runs the Indian cricket team would score in a particular one-day match against Australia? If this question is asked to a person like me, who doesn't have uh, knowledge of cricket, I'm not very good in knowledge of cricket, I cannot answer this question. Or if somehow I will give some answer to this question, there is a very least probability that the solution will be very near to the correct answer or optimal one. So heuristic knowledge is developed through the experience and learning over a period of time. Next one is the common sense knowledge, also very important one. In general, contextual knowledge about any phenomena, it is domain independent knowledge that is acquired through the experience knowingly or unknowingly. You attain this knowledge through your experience over a period of time, knowingly and unknowingly, or on the daily basis, you are attaining it, but you are not aware of it. But when some situation arises, you can use or apply this knowledge in your actions. It is the most difficult type of knowledge to represent and code. It cannot be coded and represented easily as it is unspoken or unwritten, like other form of knowledges. We cannot judge its size also, or we cannot define how large its size is because it is a mixture of almost all types of knowledges. Next one is the explicit knowledge, the very common form of knowledge. The knowledge an individual holds explicitly and which remains in one's consciousness forever. It can be expressed clearly into formal languages like mathematical expressions, grammatical statements, specifications, manuals, standard operating procedures, etc. That is written in recorded format. For example, the knowledge that if we multiply 2 by 2, it will become 4. So we learn multiplication, addition, etc. in the primary classes of the education system, and this knowledge remains in our consciousness forever. It is communicable to others and we can transfer it verbally or in a stored form from one person to another, or we can store it verbally or in a written format. This type of knowledge can be processed and stored by the computers very easily and transferred electronically. So it exists in the form of data that can be processed, stored, organized, and interpreted by the system. The more it is the simplest form of knowledge. Next is implicit knowledge, also known as tacit knowledge. It is very difficult to write down. Like common sense knowledge, we cannot visualize or transfer this type of knowledge from one person to another. This form of knowledge is an individual process about which the person may or may not be aware, like common sense knowledge. Here are few examples of tacit knowledge, like leadership quality. The leadership is a very complex social skill. Okay. And very difficult to teach. You cannot guarantee that a process can train you in, and convert you into a great leader. Another is intuition. Intuition is defined as the ability to understand things without using any logic. So it's important for it's very important and significant for innovations and decision making. Sense of humor. You can't teach someone a sense of humor. Because it requires a particular timing. That is considered very intuitive. Another one is emotional intelligence, which is defined as the ability to read and use emotions to influence others, the outcomes of the situation. It is very difficult to teach or express. For example, we see many people that are very good in convincing others, or they have a very good convincing power. This type of knowledge cannot be analyzed, visualized, or transferred from one person to another. How a person is how, for example, how Sachin Tendulkar is a great batsman due to its tacit knowledge. If you ask that Sachin Tendulkar how you become a great cricketer, he hardly explain, because it is not the only practice that develops the tacit knowledge. The last one is uncertain knowledge. As the knowledge is uncertain and usually incomplete in general, the complete knowledge regarding any organization or a problem cannot be provided, or it is not possible to provide the complete knowledge about a phenomenon. What we provide is the knowledge which is known to us. So we only provide the knowledge complete to the best of our capability or capacity, but that is never absolute or complete. There is a chance of knowledge which we are not aware of, as the real world phenomena are highly uncertain and they need uncertain knowledge to represent them. So to deal with uncertainty in knowledge, we use various techniques, in which one probabilistic technique used is fuzzy logic in AI. So in this session, we have discussed what is artificial intelligence, what is the basis of intelligence, that is knowledge. So while concluding, in the concluding part of my session, I would like to mention that after this session, we figure out that it is the power of knowledge that makes someone intelligent. And this fact was discovered by our philosophers 1,000 years back, but realized by the researchers in AI much later. So we can say that there are so many facets of intelligence, like learning, acquiring knowledge, storing the knowledge, applying this stored knowledge in your future actions while solving a problem, or capacity of reasoning and inferencing, etc., which altogether form a mechanism. This mechanism helps us to perform various functions in an intelligent way. So we figure out that it is the only knowledge which provides life to this mechanism of intelligence. So at the end of the session, we can understand how significant and how crucial is the knowledge for development of artificial intelligence. So that's all from my side. Thank you for listening with patience. Have a good day.